Hey, what's up, YouTube? Been a while for my channel since I posted anything. Lots happened, lots going on, so I figured I'd clue you in and get you kind of caught up with where we're at. Let's see. Got really cold for a while up here in Alaska and really didn't have a lot of motivation to come out here in the garage and do anything, so kind of vegged in the house for a little bit. And then work called and I had some training that I had to attend up in Fairbanks for a week. So we went up there to Fairbanks, got some good training in, and experienced a lot colder than it was here. And in the process, I managed to contract pneumonia. It wasn't fun. I was down pretty hard for about a week. And then back on my feet after that, feeling better each day, but still just a little bit out of whack. Still got a lingering cough and stuff like that. But aside from that, we're getting better. But definitely feeling better and decided to come out and start working on some things. I got a few different projects going on. One of them is my KLR. I did some upgrades to that. The only thing I have left to do on it is put the new tires on it and it'll be ready for the season. So I did that earlier today. And then, of course, we got back on our fun stuff. And our fun stuff, as you know, is this guy right here. See if I can get this to turn here. It's not wanting to turn. Okay, anyway, not sure what's going on here, but what I'll do is I'll go ahead and flip this around so you can see. We got ahead and we got most of my stuff back from the engine shop. The only thing that we're lacking right now is the crankshaft, and he had to order some heavy metal to go ahead and get that balanced up. But went ahead and decided to start mocking some stuff up because I got a lot of measurements I got to do. And one of the big things is measuring up for the push rods. And I kind of knew how long they needed to be already. I just didn't know how much clearance I was going to have. And so I've got this wonderful kit from Livin Racing. And because that's where I get my push rods from. And as it would appear, I can basically put whatever push rod I want to in this thing. It's pretty freaking awesome. Matt did an awesome job on prepping these heads and getting everything ready to go. So on this head right here, of course, I had both heads O-ringed and receiver grooves cut in the block. The one thing I did here is I went ahead and torqued this one head on to imprint the gasket. I'm going to do the other side tomorrow. I'm not getting to it tonight because it's already getting kind of late and I got to get dinner and go ahead and get something to eat. But we got the cam bearings in. We got all of our block plugs and galley plugs in that we needed to get in there. And started to get the cams. I got the camshaft slid in there, and I got the gear on it just so I can mock it up here and check my push rod sizing and stuff like that so I can get those ordered. I'll probably order those this week. These are the badass heads right here, the big 9s that Matt builds. Badass ass head for a big block Chevy on the market right now. There ain't nothing better. What's really cool about these guys is they flow over 600 CFM. And as you can see, we got some pretty decent sized ports in there. Got some decent sized valves in there. And we're going to make some big power with this thing. I can't wait. I'm pretty excited. So anyway, that's what's going on with that so far. I've still got quite a bit of work to do yet. Once I get my crank back, I'll be able to check bearing clearances and stuff like that. And get all that stuff mocked up. I've got spacers for right here that I need to cut down because they're too tall for this combo. So we're going to cut them down so they fit nice and go along with these heads because my intake will sit nice and flush right here. And you can see my intake sitting over there. A couple things left to do to that before it's ready to go. Yeah, the garage is a mess. I'm sorry. I don't have a lot of room and not a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of stuff and not a lot of room to place it. So I kind of make do with what I got, but that's not going to keep us from going fast. I want to send kudos out to my buddy Jay at J Child's Race Cars for helping me out with this. He's the one that's doing all my machine work, and he's a phenomenal fucking engine builder and machinist. And he's also one hell of a race car builder. He's built some badass cars. He's been published in some magazines and stuff like that. And he's got some bad shit running out there. And he's helping me out with this deal right here, helping me get going. And he's gonna be on the side of the car for as long as he wants because because he's been very, very helpful to me, and he hasn't really asked for much in return. And Jay's just a freaking phenomenal person. So if you guys ever want to look him up, I will put the link down in the media box below. And if you want to click on Jay Child's Race Cars to see what he can do, but that man can fabricate anything. He can pretty much do anything that you want. So anyway, like I said, I've got all my pistons and stuff back from the machine shop. I'm just waiting on the crank, and that's just a matter of one more piece of heavy metal that he didn't have. So I got my nice little JE guys right here, all ready to go. I got my connecting rods over here, Molnar H-beams. I'll show you those here real quick. Tom Molnar, also another awesome guy, makes an incredible part. You'll be hard-pressed to find a better connecting rod at this price, much less at 4 times the price, because his stuff is just phenomenal. It's just a phenomenal piece of work. That's his stuff right there. Of course, excuse me. Like I said, I still got a little bit of a cough. But this is his stuff right here. And again, phenomenal quality parts. These bad boys, they're strong. They're strong. They're rated for more power than I'm ever going to be able to make, at least at my budget. And Tom stands behind his stuff. He told me at one point in time that he'd put his rods up against anybody's in any application. And you know what? Good enough for me. I'll run his stuff. So... But MBE, big nines, baddest ass big block Chevrolet heads on the market right now. That's what's sitting on top of this bad boy. 665 cubic inches. Okay. Alcohol injected and on nitrous. And again, for those of you who say, oh, you can't run alcohol with nitrous, wrong. You absolutely can. Your power gains are the same as they are on gasoline. The issue that you run into is temperature. Alcohol is much harder to vaporize than gasoline is. And when you start getting over about a 350 or 400 shot of nitrous and you're spraying alcohol with it, you start running into problems of getting the fuel to vaporize and being able to burn. That's the issue. It's not that you can't run the two together. But up to about 350, 400 horse, you're fine. This thing here, somewhere along the line, I goofed in my calculations. But I planned, again, for a 16.5 to 1 motor. And when I got done doing the math with the pistons and the bore and the deck clearance, because Jay did have to cut the decks just a bit after he fixed the sleeve, the one thing that I checked, again, was my compression ratio, my static compression ratio. And it works out to 17.7 to 1. I'm not really worried about it, though, because compression ratio is not that big of an issue. A lot of people make an issue of it. It's not. It's cylinder pressure and, effective compression ratio when the engine's running is what's important. And based on my last build, if you looked at my camshaft specs and you punched everything in, I had an effective compression ratio of about 8.5 to 1. I had a cranking compression of about 160 PSI on all cylinders. And that car went 732 on motor in Bandamere. It ran out of steam on the top end because it just did not want to pull on the top end. I got that fixed. Better heads, better intake, more cam. What'll be interesting is to see what the actual cranking compression is of this beast, because that's going to determine, pretty much how much I can spray it. My goal is actually not to spray it any more than I have to, simply because, the more power you can make on motor, the better off you're going to be. Some things that you're going to see on here, these works of art made by T&D, designed by T&D and Matt Bieneman at MBE. No more deflection issues. You see that I got these solid stands, solid steel stands, one-piece rocker bar. This stuff isn't going to move. Along with gigantic push rods, this thing is going to make some power. So I'm really looking forward to driving this car and seeing how it runs. Copper head gaskets. I've always ran those. There's been people that have talked to me and said, oh, I don't know how to get them to seal. I can't get them to seal. I've never had an issue, actually. 3 coats of copper coat, let them dry completely between the coats, and then slap them together, and they seal up just fine. But I happen to be out of copper coat now, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be running Yamabond. Bob Reinhardt, formerly of Madcap Racing Engines. Now he works for Stevie Fast in engine development. Oh, and congratulations. Congratulations to Stevie Fast. Congratulations to Bob Reinhardt and the whole crew over there. They just set a new eighth mile record. I think it was 3:48 at 200 and some change. It was monster run, and that was done on radials. So it was a monster run. Congrats to those guys over there. You guys are, wow, phenomenal, fast-ass racers. They got their shit together, and they're going to beat up on everybody. That's just how it's going to be. But anyway, on this stuff here, like I said, you know, we got the one-piece rocker bar. We're going to have monster push rods in this thing. We're going to be running 9/16 push rods on the intake. We're going to be running 5/8 push rods on the exhaust. So we're not going to be having any more issues with push rod failures or push rods rubbing or push rods bending and deflecting and causing valve train issues. So we fixed that. A couple things also, running BAM lifters. Got a good deal on those from Bob before he left Madcap. These guys right here, they're the DLC coated steel axle. There's no bearings in them. And Bob was telling me he's ran those for more than 5 years in every build that he's done and hasn't had a single failure yet. So good enough for him, good enough for me. Well, guys, notice I'm running a gear drive. I'm ditching the belt, okay? Going to create a lot of controversy with this. I've already said that in previous videos, but I do not believe for a second that a belt is the best way to drive a camshaft. Belt stretch, Jessel and Comp both tell you that you need to compensate for belt stretch when you're timing the engine. If you're timing it without the heads and valve train in place, you have to allow 2 extra degrees of timing, cam timing, to allow for belt stretch. On Comp, they tell you 4. Gear drive, you don't have to allow for shit. Set it and forget it. Most durable drive on the market, okay? Now, I run roller cam bearings. You can see it's not taking a whole lot of effort for me to turn this cam right now, even though there's no load on it or anything else. It's stopping because it's hitting the checking push rod, and I don't want to bend that. Because I still got the regular springs on the heads. But, you know, it's not having any problem turning right there. And everybody says, oh, you lose power with a gear drive. That is also bullshit. Total ass bullshit. You do not lose power with a real gear drive. I have an RCD single idler cover, raised cam, 400 thousandths raised cam, which is what I run on my block. Set up properly, a single idler full cover style gear drive does not rob any power from the engine to drive it. Okay, that's a myth, huge myth. Doesn't happen. It takes no more power to drive that than it does a belt drive. Only you don't have the stretch. You have substantially more accurate cam timing throughout the RPM range. Okay. The other thing, myth, it transfers harmonics to the valve train. Okay. The dual idler Pete Jackson style gear drives are junk. Those do take horsepower to drive because they wedge the gears together to mesh. That's why they have the dual idler. One gear holds the other gear in place, and it's a wedging action that causes it to work. Those do rob power. Those do transmit harmonics because you got nothing but metal on metal. But a true gear drive, like this guy right here, this RCD, and this is just the cam gear. We got the cover over on the table. These guys right here, they don't take any more power to use than a belt drive does. They don't transfer any more harmonics than a belt drive does. I don't care what anybody says. Why? Because they don't run metal to metal. There's this little bit of clearance between all of those gears, and when the engine's running, you get a film of oil in there, just like on the bearings. It's riding on oil. It's not riding on the metal itself, and guess what? No harmonics are getting transferred. If these were so bad, you would not see them like you do, but they're getting more and more popular. More and more people are running them on their stuff because they want reliability. Belts fail, period. Now, granted, the one that failed for me, it failed not because of the fucking belt, but because I had a major catastrophic failure, and that's the chain reaction that ended up being the belt was the last thing to break. If I'd had a gear drive, it would have been much, much uglier because the gear drive wouldn't have budged. But nevertheless, gear drive, best way to drive a camshaft that there is, okay? But aside from that, like I said, this is what we got going on. I've got the mount built for the transmission cooler. I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. All I had to do is just move the tabs just a little bit because I went from a Shogun to a B&M style. I prefer this style of cooler simply because going down track, one of the regular radiator style, even with a fan, isn't going to pull enough heat out of the transmission to make much of a difference. But when it's sitting in the pits, that thing will sit there and just radiate heat and it'll cool off. If there's a breeze blowing or something like that, heat will radiate off. And believe it or not, it's actually cooling shit as it goes down track too, because the wind blowing over it and all of that stuff. So never had an issue running one of those. Going to continue to run one. Great way to fucking cool your transmission. Unfortunately, B&M doesn't make this one anymore, and Shogun doesn't make theirs. So if you can find one, they're not a bad option. Okay. Plus, they add additional capacity to the transmission. All of the wiring is done back to the roll cage. Everything else behind that, I've been waiting on the engine to get done. Yeah, like I said, it's a mess. Sorry, guys. But once we get the engine together, get it in there, we'll finish wiring up everything. We'll get the coils mounted. We'll get the radiator mounted, and we'll get this thing plumbed. And then once all of that's done, we're going to be ready to go and fire this thing up. So it's going to happen pretty quick. Now that I got parts and I got things to do, I'm going to start working on this thing every night. Probably for an hour or two every night until I get everything figured out that I need to get figured out. But aside from that, that's all we got. Just wanted to update you guys. I'm going to try to keep you updated a little bit more from here on out. But keep in mind, I'm only going to update when I've got something to update. So right now, what we're going to be looking at is I'll just keep you advised of the progress I'm making on the engine and mock-up and stuff like that. And once we have a little bit more, we'll get another video going. And hopefully you guys like the content. So please like, share, and subscribe. Click the buttons down below. Get that algorithm going. I want to try to spread my channel because I am going to have stuff here in Alaska that I'm looking at. And I want to start, a fan page for Alaska kind of through my web channel. And I'm going to update my webpage to livingthedreamracing.com. I've got to update that. I'm going to put that link down below as well. That's going to take some work because I want to change it quite a bit. So I need to go in and do a lot of editing to it. So it's going to take a little while. But anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuning in. There will be more updates, I promise. They won't take as long as this one did. But nevertheless, they'll be coming. So thanks for watching. Click like, share, and subscribe. And see you guys on the next one.